How we doing, traders, and welcome to the SPACs attack. Let's get it. All right, traders, welcome to the SPACs attack, where we cover everything SPACs and IPO in the world. Let's go ahead and let's start it up with a good like. Let's get it going with my man Chris Katje. How you doing, man?
Hey, Mitch, how's it going?
Hey, it's super excited to keep it going. Gonna really be working hard to do some improvements to the show. So one of the things I've been working on, guys, is I'm gonna be getting us some new microphones. I know that everyone's hating the headset life, so we'll definitely work to improve. So definitely smash a like for that. I know we got some good headlines to get into, some rumors. So like always, guys, let's go ahead and take us back, Chris.
All right, yeah, guys, so long weekend with the markets closed Monday. Going to try to touch on a lot of headlines. We'll have some more tomorrow to play catch up as well, but want to dive into headlines and also a couple of rumors that we had last week. And of course, we did not have a show on Friday due to our company-wide meeting. So also want to touch on some news from last week as well. So up first, we have EOSE. So this is a former SPAC and now EOS Energy. Was the target of a short report last week. So Iceberg Research calling EOS Energy a, quote, battery energy storage system SPAC with a failed technology and dubious customers, unquote. So they point to a 90% downside on this stock. Remember, we've talked before, battery plays and storage plays look to be a big story here in 2021 with the new administration. So we did see a dip on shares here. This is one I've liked before. I don't see anything alarming from the short report. So I'll be taking a look at these, new entries now with that drop from that short report going forward. Then we have DM, so Desktop Metal, another former SPAC. So they made an acquisition last week. They acquired Envision TEC, which is a leading global provider of volume production 3D printing solutions for end-use parts. So the deal was done at a value of $300 million, expected to close in the first quarter. They're going to use cash and shares of Desktop Metal to get that deal done. Desktop Metal's still big fan of this company going forward, with the 3D printing space. And, I think that acquisition with the end use there, sets them up for future success. We did have some movers last week. One of them was RBAC, so Red Ball acquisition. This is one we've talked about, since our very first show. Company's rumored to take Fenway Sports public since October. So Fenway Sports includes the Boston Red Sox, Liverpool Football Club, Fenway Park, partial ownership of New England Sports Network, and Roush Fenway Racing NASCAR team. Shares were halted last week and saw strong volume. So not sure what to think here. Maybe a potential deal getting closer to being announced, or people just diving into this one, sitting closer to that under $11 net asset value. We will note that sports valuations continue to rise. I saw NBA values released yesterday with the, NBA Knicks worth $5.4 billion. We've seen valuations rise across all the sports. And here you have a company that's targeting sports or media, but specifically linked to sports team ownership. So, this is one that I continue to look at for the future. We have CIIC, so this is CIIG merger, bringing a public, another electric vehicle play. They got a rating last week, so Wolf Research initiated coverage with an outperform rating. Arrival has been one of the top performing SPACs, without that completed merger. This is a big one, and to get that rating, ahead of the deal being closed, I think is a positive sign. And, we'll be looking forward to hearing more on Arrival going forward. Another rating last week, so Skills, SKLZ, one we've talked about a lot on the show. Wells Fargo initiated coverage with an equal weight rating and a price target of $28. So remember, this is could be a gaming play, a sports betting play, as they monetize their mobile gaming users for other companies, so that rating there and that $28 price target. And then DMYD, so DMY Technology SPAC, that's merging with Genius Sports. Remember, the company that provides sports data to sports betting companies, the thing behind the thing. It was added to the sports betting ETF from Roundhill Investments, symbol BETZ. So again, Bets owns several SPACs. They're adding this one pre-deal closing, which I think is a positive sign. This is the sports betting pure play ETF. We've, of course, had Will Hershey on the show before. I think them adding DMYD here shows some strength in this name, as ultimately sports betting companies have to get that data from someone. And Genius Sports is part of a duopoly with Sportradar to provide that content. So, strength here in DMYD with that addition in that ETF. Intel Corp chairman Omar Ishrak is planning to raise $1 billion in a new SPAC targeting health technology. That would be one of the larger SPACs that we've seen recently, and obviously, a name attached to Intel. And in that health technology is going to be a big one. So pay attention to that. We'll let you know when we get a date and the official details on that. Big mover this morning was VGAC. So this is the Virgin Group SPAC. So the company has Virgin Orbit as a potential target. Virgin Orbit had news over the weekend with that launch of those satellites. And also Richard Branson was just on CNBC. So as soon as it was announced he was going to be on CNBC, shares started spiking. Of course, he could not comment on VGAC or potential targets in that interview. So we'll see what shares end up, closing with now after that interview. I see them up double digits still. And then last week, our big rumors. So we, of course, had CCIV, Churchill Capital 4, rumored to be buying Lucid Motors. Not going to touch on this one a ton as we really dove into it last week, but a lot of research being done over the weekend by the FinTwit community connecting the dots. Churchill Capital is out with a statement today saying they're reviewing a range of potential business combinations. They're not going to comment, and so read into that as you would. Same thing when Michael Klein appeared in a interview. He wouldn't comment. He wouldn't, confirm or deny. Again, there's the connections between Lucid Motors chairman being on the CCIV board and also Michael Klein having a relationship with the company. So I still think this deal gets done, but I think we may be waiting a couple weeks here. So pay attention to these levels as this one has been a hot mover. I am long shares of CCIV here.
Chris, before we get a little bit further in this, I did a little more research into Lucid Motors because, everyone's been doing like kind of the research in the relationship, but I wanted to actually pay attention to what they were acquiring and why this would be a good company. So after doing more in-depth research into Lucid Motors, I really kind of start seeing how they're trying to really compete with Tesla. Like, a lot of people can kind of state that relationship and that there'll be a battle there. But really you have to look at the products, and the products are very similar. They're going to be coming out with a performance model that I think can really compete. This one would be coming out in early 2022. They're going to be coming out with kind of earlier models in 2021. So I definitely pay attention to, let's say for some reason CCIV doesn't land Lucid Motors. I mean, whoever is going to go out for Lucid Motors is definitely going to be attention and get attention from investors. So keep your eye on it.
Yeah, I will say Lucid Motors, along with Rivian, are the two plays that I've been, interested in for a long time, and always said, hey, whatever SPAC announces this deal, those are the ones I want to get into because that strong brand recognition. So CCIV, as soon as that rumor started, I know I bought in, hoping for this deal to close. So we'll keep you updated as we see, new news. But right now, it's just the continued chatter, trying to link these companies together. A couple other rumors last week. So FST, Fast Acquisition Corp, targeting restaurants. They're in talks now to take Tillman Fertitta's casino and dining assets public. So could be announced next week and could value the company at $7 billion, including debt. Fertitta would maintain majority control of the company. So Fast Acquisition raised $200 million in their offering, but they're in talks to raise an additional $1 billion to complete this deal. So assets would include Del Frisco Steakhouse, Morton Steakhouse, McCormick and Schnick's, and Bubba Gump Shrimp restaurant chains, and then also the casinos under the Golden Nugget brand that are located in Atlantic City, New Jersey, Biloxi, Mississippi, Lake Charles, Louisiana, Las Vegas, Nevada, and Laughlin, Nevada. Remember that the online sports betting and iGaming portion of the casino business went public in an earlier SPAC, now trading as Golden Nugget Online, GNOG. Personally, I was really excited and hoping that FST landed more of a growth fast casual restaurant chain like a Five Guys, or one of those bigger names. But to get the Fertitta assets here, to me, the casino business, you're missing the key growth, as it will not have the online sports betting that's already been spun off as a separate business. And then you're getting some, sit down, casual and upscale chains, which to me don't have as bright of a future as the fast casual restaurant industry currently has. So this one shot up on those rumors and then started trading down. It looks like investors were not that excited about that deal. I see 1079 as the current price. Again, that's just a rumor, but it is out from Bloomberg, so keep an eye on. Then the other rumor we had was CFAC. So CF Finance Acquisition 3 is nearing a deal with LiDAR company AI. This was according to Bloomberg. So AI is backed by Continental AG, which is Europe's second largest car parts supplier. The two companies are working together on a long-range LiDAR sensor based on AI's patented architecture to commercialize. Other backers in AI include Kleiner Perkins, LG Electronics, Intel, Subaru, and Airbus. So this would join a growing list of LiDAR companies that have gone public via SPAC, with Luminar Technologies, LAZR, Velodyne LiDAR, VLDR, Innoviz with Collective Growth, CGRO, Avaya with Inter Private Acquisition, IPV, and Ouster with Colonnade Acquisition, symbol CLA. So LiDAR was one of the big stories, in 2020. Looks like it's going to continue in 2021. I like this deal here if it gets done. You talk about LiDAR companies, but you talk about who your backers are. So Continental AG, Europe's second largest car parts supplier, obviously gives them some strength there in distribution. And then to be backed by, Intel, LG, Subaru, and Airbus, I think strengthens this name. LG, of course, has some deals with some auto companies already. And then Subaru and Airbus backing them may mean that, that leads to LiDAR deals being done for those vehicles and or planes. So this is one I'll be paying attention to, on that. And then that's it for headlines. We'll note that the calendar this week, we have the vote for OAC today, merging with HIMSS. Tomorrow we have GHIV voting on that merger with United Wholesale Mortgage. And tomorrow we have ACAM voting on that merger with CarLots. I am long shares of ACAM. And then January 29th, we have NOVS voting on their merger with App Harvest, indoor agriculture company. And that's it for the January calendar currently. We do have some February dates as well, and I think we're going to start to see announced for March as we kind of fill out that first quarter and these companies look to get those deals completed. So that's what I've got today, Mitch.
All right. There you go, guys. You guys got the notable headlines of the day and some calendar dates to look out for. So definitely keep those on track. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at some of the watch lists today. Before I do that, I want to definitely give a shout out to some of the people in the chat every day with us. It's definitely supporting. If you haven't done so already, definitely share this with your friends, especially if they're SPAC fans. So let's go ahead and give some shout outs. I see Rachel, Sue, of course, Crew Cut. We got Michael, D-Train. We got Joe in the house, Warren, DC. What's going on, guys? How you doing, Sarah, Steve? We got Blockchain, D-Train. Hey, it's good to have everybody here. Definitely smash the like button down below. Let's go ahead and continue moving here. Let's get into our watch list section of the show and see what we see out there. All right, guys. So one of the things I want to do is let me zoom in a little bit here so you guys can see the watch list a little bit better here. And then I'll pull some of this charting away here. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of maybe the highest movers of the day, and then we'll just continue moving. So leading here, you got VGAC, one that, I talked about this one when it first came out. I definitely was interested just because of the board. With Branson being involved and back. To tell you the truth, I mean, I was seeing this one all the way back in October time when it was closer to 10. But, it's been leveling up and slowly but surely. I think this one has been, rumored to be maybe getting some of the space Virgin companies. So what do you think here, Chris, about VGAC?
Yeah, so Virgin Orbit, has long been the rumored target, and they did have that launch this week of satellites. And I'm trying to read up. I didn't get a chance to watch Branson's interview on CNBC yet, but it does look like he said Virgin Orbit is considering going public via SPAC. Of course, he couldn't comment on VGAC, his own SPAC from Virgin Group. But, I think until we get any news otherwise, I think that's going to be the leading candidate and rumor here.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and continue here. And then you're going to see kind of, you see a trend here with the space stocks after that ETF mentioned in Kathy Wood's. You see SRAC also up on the day, pushing up here on the 22s. Definitely pushing also. And then I'm sure we could take a look here also at MPA. Let's see how MPA is doing on the day. And you see it pushing up there on the 16s. Definitely getting some drive from that mention of the Kathy Wood's space ETF. Right, Chris?
Yeah, definitely. I know I bought shares of SRAC and SPCE. I think you can also take a look at NPA. And then also rumors that Desktop Metal, because of that 3D printing possibly helping out in space, could be another one that's targeted by that space ETF from Kathy Wood. I think when that ETF officially, goes public and she has to start adding, I think we're going to see another rally in those space stocks. So I don't think this rally's dead yet.
All right, guys. So let's take a look also at the BFT starting to actually rip again here. Let's go ahead and take a look here on the chart. I want to look at a daily chart here on BFT. I know we're also getting mentions of it in the chat. I mean, you got that one drive up, that second drive. Then you got that third drive, and it kind of held that support here, guys. Now that we're pushing up here, all we need is kind of some volume spike to really keep it on up here and maybe get it above this 18. This is one that, if you really look at it, it's kind of been trending steadily, throughout the whole December month. And then on January, really started to get some lift. So one of the things that I noticed is that at the end of December, we had a pullback wave in SPACs overall, and people were like kind of worried, and that's when you saw this discount come right here. This is why you can always look at those days when, let's say, you see SPACs coming down hard. Don't be so scared. Don't rush into the panic. Look for opportunities, and you might just grab one of these. All right, let's go ahead and continue going here with the watch list. Want to call out one that's been kind of down gapping today. You got NGA and RMO. Let's take a look at RMO. NGA, I think that's just kind of more of an extension, but this is one that's getting me interested. This RMO chart here, coming down closer towards this $20 and $18 level, and you got a kind of this little volume spike here that came in pretty much through this 22 price point. So I wanted to test 20 and kind of hold there. Maybe even come down a little bit closer towards 1975. That's kind of the area that I'll start targeting, kind of this 1935 from this high over here. If we can get into this area and hold for a little bit, I might be interested in this RMO. We've brought the interview on here. What do you think about this chart, Chris, and the story of RMO?
Yeah, I love the story going forward. I like the price points you mentioned. Last week, I actually had a limit order in at $20 that did not fill. That's kind of, I think, my target here. I'd like to see it, come down to 20 or maybe below. But this is one I'd like to own for the long term. So, I think I'm willing to pay 20, and just hold it in that IRA. I think their battery technology is really going to be a key driver going forward.
Perfect. So I think this is a good time to go ahead and talk about kind of the positions that we have open right now. Full disclosure, Chris and I don't do this necessarily to do the pick game, guys, but we want to let you know our positions that we're in. So definitely want to give a kind of a run through really quickly. I'm in RPLA. That's Replay Acquisition or Finance of America. That's kind of more of my long-term SPAC play, guy, just because that's the way I see that one. I see that one in a kind of a monthly trend, not really necessarily something I see can move fast. Another one that I'm in, guys, I got into SPNV. That's kind of more of my hype one that I would play. So definitely keeping an eye on that one. That's Supernova Partners. I got in that one near the 1130s. Kind of a little bit down on that position right now, but I kind of like where I'm in and at least able to risk off the bottom. And then I'm also in CTAC and trying to get some SEAH, but I haven't gotten filled on SEAH. But CTAC, I did get some. So full disclosure, those are the three right now that I have in the portfolio. I just wanted to throw those out there. Chris, you want to mention some of yours?
Yeah, so I mean, you guys have heard me talk about quite a few, but full disclosure, so I am in SBE, which of course is merging with ChargePoint, Helion still HYLN, GIK Lightning E Motors, NGA Lion Electric, ACAM with that vote for car lots coming up, HEC, so Hack, which just had their deal with for online mental health. I think that story is still undervalued here. IPOD, the Chamath SPAC, CCIV, of course, with those Lucid Motors rumors. And then I also have units of FRXU, which is the Shack SPAC with those three former Disney executives. Former SPAC Fisker, Goldman Sachs, the GSAH, SOAC, SPCE, Virgin Galactic, SRAC, Stable Road, STIC merging with Bark, parent company of BarkBox, and then THBR, Thunderbridge, which is connected cars. So those are currently the SPACs that I am invested in across several portfolios.
I think I covered them all there. I'm not sure if I got them all. As you can tell, Chris definitely has a bigger range of diversity here. So one of the things that I can do is just kind of look at some of these tickers, right? Right off the top, the one that stands out for me on Chris's list is Helion. Just because I've been seeing this kind of bottoming action, and Chris and I have been talking about this for a little while now. I want to pull up the chart right here. You've seen this bottoming action on Helion that's getting me interested, guys. I'm starting to see another bottom getting formed here closer towards 16 and this kind of 1550 area. So I want to see if we can hold that area, maybe test it, and then get right back up above 17. That could give me an ability to go ahead and measure my risk off maybe 16s, or maybe I get into 16s and I risk off of that 15 price point. But definitely kind of interested in this one in the long run. The big story for me in this one would be, like I mentioned to Chris, I think at the end of the day, I think retrofitting is going to be the first move in the EV world, in the EV industry, versus, let's say, a brand new purchase of fleets. I know you guys can go ahead and chime in on that in the chats. Tell us what you guys think. Tell us about the comments. One of the things that Chris and I do is it's not just what we think about the story. Let us know what you think about the story, and and what can actually happen in the comments below after the show. All right, so let's definitely give some shout outs out there. I'm seeing a bunch of people mentioning some stocks. Everyone's excited about your list there, Chris. I'm sure you guys are going to be tuning into that after. So let's go ahead and let's get into the best time of the show here. Let's unlock some SPACs. Let's get into the middle segment here. Let's get into some cryptocurrency SPACs. What are the rumors out there? What are the potential plays? Chris, unlock those SPACs for us.
All right, guys. So electric vehicles, were the big story in 2020 for SPACs. We saw lots of companies going public that way. One of the themes for 2021, I think, is going to be the continued strength of cryptocurrency awareness and news coverage, and also the rise of the value of Bitcoin. So I think, it's time to take a look at some SPACs that could be targeting cryptocurrency names, including COINBASE, obviously, is the big name thrown out. So here are just kind of my thoughts after diving into those management teams and target areas of who I think could be ones to watch in that area. So we have up first GSAH, so the Goldman Sachs SPAC. They raised $700 million. It was one of our picks for SPACs under $11 back in December. They've been linked to eToro, thanks to the fact that eToro has talked to Goldman Sachs about a potential IPO. New reports out say that Goldman Sachs is planning on entering the cryptocurrency market soon. You add these items together, and this SPAC is going to be linked to the sector. Shares are now $11.65. I am long shares of GSAH here. I think this could be one, that lands a large name given that amount, but I think they could really be looking in that fintech and cryptocurrency space, given Goldman Sachs' current interest in eToro and also cryptocurrency. So that is one I am in and watching going forward. Then up next, we have BTAQ. So this was one of my favorite SPACs under $11 at the start of the year, targeting tech or enterprise software, led by the former CEO of Hewlett-Packard and SAP. The company listed Israel as, an area in their filing. They have connections there, which I think could mean that eToro is a possibility. I am long shares of BTAQ. I like the thought of eToro here. Otherwise, there are still lots of great Israeli tech companies that could go this route, but I think they could be a possibility for a crypto name here. Next up, we have LFTR. This was another top 10 SPACs under $11 pick. Company is targeting fintech. So the management includes connections to E-Trade and TD Ameritrade. So they raised $200 million. Chairman Mark Cassidy is the founder of fintech Vertigo Ventures. And CEO Carl Rossner is the former CEO of E-Trade. The big name to watch here is Asif Hirji, who's the former chief operating officer of COINBASE. So he's actually on the board of this SPAC. He was at COINBASE from December 2017 to June 2019. He also worked at TD Ameritrade. He joined a blockchain startup called Figure as the president in January 2020. So here you have a company with lots of experience, with that brokerage, with E-Trade and TD Ameritrade, and then also an executive who worked for COINBASE. Lots of connections there that point me to believe, COINBASE could be a target, or they could be going after a cryptocurrency exchange or something along that field. So LFTR is definitely one that I am keeping an eye on there. Another one to mention, although smaller connection here, is MOTV. So raised $350 million, led by Blythe Masters, an industry partner at Motive Capital. Was the former CEO of a blockchain fintech called Digital Asset, is targeting fintech. So again, anytime some of these names have connections to blockchain, there's usually positive sentiment towards cryptocurrency, which, I think means that they could target that area, and definitely ones that I want to keep on watch. And as Mitch pulls up that chart there, I see some nice volume, over the last couple days and some nice strong moves. So it looks like maybe this one getting more interest. So this will definitely be one that I am watching here. And then we have LEAP, so LEAP. This is the Ribbit Capital SPAC. Was recently in the news and up big on a wall action, a new fintech platform from parent company Ribbit Capital. So there was some confusion with this. Again, Walmart partnered with Leap. Leap is or with Ribbit. Ribbit is the of Leap. That doesn't necessarily mean that they will be connected to the Ribbit Capital SPAC going forward. This SPAC is led by two current Ribbit Capital executives, raised $350 million, and Ribbit is an investor in COINBASE and Robinhood. Company is targeting fintech. So again, an investor in COINBASE. Anytime you hear that, obviously there's awareness of Coinbase and also possibly some interest in going public. So that's one to watch too. And then we have FDAC. So this SPAC is led by former New York Stock Exchange President Tom Farley. So targeting fintech, raised $550 million. This is one kind of under the radar, but I definitely want to throw out there on your watch list. So in 2015, the New York Stock Exchange invested $75 million in Coinbase, which was the largest investment ever made in a Bitcoin company at the time. Farley led the way and called Bitcoin a growth market. The New York Stock Exchange created a Bitcoin index in 2015. So again, you look back to 2015, there wasn't a lot of positive sentiment around Bitcoin and crypto from these major finance companies or exchanges. And here you had the New York Stock Exchange investing $75 million in Coinbase and really going after that market. And that was led by their president, Tom Farley, who now has this fintech SPAC. I like the dots being connected there. This is definitely one that I'm watching. I just recently, found some of this news, and I will definitely be watching that going forward. And then a couple of SPACs that have already announced crypto deals. So we have VIH. So this SPAC announced a deal valuing cryptocurrency exchange backed at $2.1 billion. The company owns a cryptocurrency exchange and launched the first regulated Bitcoin futures exchange. Also, the first fully regulated options contract for Bitcoin. Shareholders of the SPAC are going to own 8%. Intercontinental Exchange, which is symbol ICE, also owns the New York Stock Exchange, will own 65% of after that deal is complete. And I do want to do some more research here, but it looks like Katje has been buying shares of ICE in some of her ETFs, and she has also highlighted in several newsletters some of the funding rounds and news about Backed. So it looks like she has some history there. Again, pure speculation here, but I would not be surprised, if she wants exposure to crypto, if VI added to those ARK ETFs. So I will be keeping an eye on that one. And then a former SPAC, EOSE, which is now Diginex. So this SPAC actually was under $10 in December, post-deal here. It started climbing on its ties to Bitcoin. So they offer a cryptocurrency exchange and OTC trading operations. They were the first full digital asset ecosystem comprising a crypto exchange to be listed on the NASDAQ. They're now launching their first derivative product with a Bitcoin futures contract this month. And then they have Ethereum coming next. So right now they are in the Asian and European markets, but they have a long-term goal of the US market. And they think that's possible with their high level of transparency and government due to having to be, go under those things to be on the NASDAQ, which to me, I think that, that is true. And the high difficulty of being on a major exchange, that they will eventually be, US based as well. So this is definitely one that I am watching going forward. This was, one of the biggest SPAC deals in crypto to be done. And again, traded under $10 for quite a while. But now, starting to get that connection to Bitcoin. And as we've seen, all Bitcoin related stocks, start to trade up kind of on the price and the news of Bitcoin. So I know that was a lot, guys, but I think crypto, again, big story in 2021, and SPACs could be part of that story. I think some of these private crypto companies are recognizing the demand for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and exchanges and mining equipment. And they're going to start to target and, maybe reach out to some of these SPACs because they want to go public to see their valuations increase and to access to that capital would in a traditional IPO. So that's what I've got, for those crypto SPACs, Mitch. What do you think?
All right. So one of the things I want to do here is make a correction here. We did mention the wrong ticker here. The ticker is FPAC. For some reason we had FDAC, so I just want to make sure that we touch that. FPAC mentioned here by our guy in the chat. That's what we have, you guys. At the end of the day, that's what we are, a community of traders coming together to go ahead and get the information that we need to be informed traders. All right, so let's go into the best part of the day. Let's get into some ticker time. So I want to go ahead and give some time to some tickers. So if you have some tickers you want to go ahead and talk about, now's your chance. Put them in the ticker. Let us know what you want to see on ticker time. All right, guys. So one of the things that I noticed is when Chris was mentioning all those, the one that stood out to me at least, and that's just because just paying attention to kind of the things that he's talking about. The one that really stood out to me was kind of moving into that leap. I don't know why that name just stands out to me, but it definitely LEAP and kind of the reasonings that Chris were bringing in there. Also being invested into Coinbase already. I'll definitely keep an eye on that one. It just stands out to me. So definitely if there's one that I'd have to point out, I'd point out that one. Now we're getting all those tickers in the chat. So this is the best time of the day. Definitely smash the like, guys. Support us as we support you guys to continue going on and learning about SPACs. Want to scroll up here and let's start knocking some of these down. One of the things that I'll do is let's go to more of a story approach today, Chris. So I'm going to name the SPAC. You give a quick 1 or 2 comments and we'll keep moving here. All right, guys, let's go ahead and getting into here. Let's do first one up. We got AGVW. Holy moly. You guys hear me tongue twisting there. So LGVW here. What's up with this one, Chris?
So LGVW, Longview merging with Butterfly Network, portable ultrasound backed by Bill Gates. Big fan of the long-term story here. It's one I'm looking to buy on dips here going forward.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and keep this moving here. Want to keep it rolling here. Of course, why not bring it up? FRX, this is one that we brought up way in the past before it even came out. So, Chris, what's going on with FRX?
Yeah, so FRX, so I just bought into units. So again, Forest Road, the Shaq's back, but so Shaq has had, good luck with some of his investments. But the big story here is 3 former Disney executives, including 2 who were considered next in line as CEO. Lots of experience with streaming and media. I really like the play here for them to land a media company going forward. Just a big fan of the management team. And I think Shaq really adds to that as well.
All right, let's keep it rolling here, guys. I got the next one up. You got GHIV from DC7. DC7, what's up with GHIV, Chris?
Yeah, so GHIV, largest SPAC deal ever. So United Wholesale Mortgage. That deal vote is tomorrow. I will add for our viewers to tune into the lunch show at 12:10 right here on Benzinga's YouTube channel. They'll have the CEO of United Wholesale Mortgage on to talk more about that deal. So I don't really have a ton to add there. I like the comparisons to Rocket Mortgage, but remember, this was a $16 billion deal. So I'll be curious to kind of see what this one lands at post-merger.
Yeah, definitely. It's on my radar. As you guys know, I'm in RPLA, which is in the same industry. That's Finance of America. So I'll definitely keep this one on watch. I think at the long run, you've been seeing these mortgage companies definitely going and taking this approach. I think it's going to be interesting, to see how these do in the long run. I think when you talk about these mortgage kind of SPACs, I think you're definitely looking more of a long-term play. Just to mention that out there, I think that's how you kind of have to approach these. These are kind of my long-term story, and that's why I have it, guys. I'm definitely going to be holding it for a while, more than likely longer than a year. So you guys have heard Chris mention that sometimes he's thinking about putting certain SPACs into an IRA account. Things like this is what I'm trying to start approaching, and we'll talk more about that. Let's go ahead and continue down here. Seeing XL. What's up with the XL, Chris?
Yeah, so XL, that big run up when that deal went through, lots of attention from the media. Looks like just can't sustain those levels now. I did own shares. I of course sold before in the 30s. I like this story here, but again, it's about retrofitting vehicles now, and I'm curious to see what the long-term play is there, and what levels it can sustain here.
All right, guys. If we look at this chart, I see this gap up from the 16th that we gapped up here from the 18th towards the 21st. See if we can fill that gap. That's what I would look for, guys. If you can fill in this gap here between 18 and 16, get some volume in that area, that would get me interested. All right, guys, gonna go ahead and continue here. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. All right, so I'm seeing right here, I'm seeing GNOG, of course. I'm sure some people are starting to pay attention to this one. It's been a little bit of how long has it been since the vote date? I think it's been since this 28th day, so we're talking probably about like two weeks. So definitely starting to get some bottoming action here. So definitely getting me interested. The biggest thing is that I want to see is there's a little gap up here, right, between 1790 and kind of this up here towards this 18 and $20 pricing. So let's see if we can hang around somewhere between 20 and 18, get some big volume to really kind of continue this push. All right, guys, I want to keep rolling through here. That's definitely one that I know. This one's interesting. CLOV. What's up with this one, Chris?
Yeah, so CLOV, Clover Health, of course, this was IPOC. There was a lot of chatter into this one. We gave this one to you guys when it was $10. And then it ran up all the way to 18. If I owned it, I would have taken my profits, over that $15 level, just because it had such a large run up all of a sudden as lots of different trading groups got into it. To this one, I think it needs a catalyst. So they already have a connection to Walmart. There's been rumors of Walgreens and CVS, but no real announcement from the company. So I think this one needs some news and needs a new catalyst, as the story's kind of already beaten out.
All right. Definitely want to give a big shout out here to Sue. One of the things that we love is that not only do people can connect with us and engage with us during the show, guys, but people connecting and engaging with us after the show on the weekends, talking about SPACs. Go ahead and hit us up on Twitter, guys. You guys see our Twitter down in the description below. We stay tuned with you guys. If there's something you guys see, want to talk about, let Chris and I know. We'll definitely engage with you guys. So definitely big shout out to Sue. Let's keep it going here, guys. Seeing some mentions of GVO. I'll keep that one in the back play. Let's keep it rolling here. One that I want to mention that could potentially get a new rumor here, IPOF. So let's take a look at IPOF. What's going on in IPOF? Have you heard anything, Chris? I know this one has a lot of money behind it. So what's going on there?
Yeah, IPOF, the largest Chamath SPAC. I see a lot of rumors. Rivian is actually one that gets thrown out. Rivian, of course, partially owned by Amazon and one of the larger electric vehicle plays. They actually just raised money today, though. I don't think Rivian needs to go public via SPAC right now. And I don't know if Chamath would do it, because he just did that pipe on that Proterra deal, which would compete, with a Rivian here. So to me, I don't see any real news on IPOV. I think a lot of people wanted to see it be Plaid too, a fintech play after Visa canceled that deal. But I don't see any concrete evidence out there. But I'm looking forward to hearing, whatever Chamath announces.
All right, guys. Seeing mentioned here. Let's go ahead and get to another one here. Seeing GOEV. So what's up with this one, Chris?
Yeah, so Canoe, again, electric vehicle play. To me, the big story here was that connection, as they're partially owned by Hyundai, and Hyundai working with Apple. And also there was an announcement by The Verge that Apple actually discussed a possible merger or partnership with Canoo last year, but those talks fell apart. So I guess the big question for me was, why did talks fall apart? Was it the value and the round, or was it the technology? Why did it fall apart, and could we see them circle back on that deal now with that Hyundai partnership? So this is one I didn't like before, but I actually have on my watch list, as I like that Apple connection.
All right, guys, let's keep it moving here. Let's get into another one. Let's look up. I mean, we've been talking about this one often, so I'll go ahead and I'll mention it for you, Dot. STIC. We've been watching this one. Everyone knows the story here. If you don't know it, it's definitely the BarkBox story here. But the real key I think to this one is if we can get some bottoming action here. You're seeing these two Harmy candles turn around. Let's see if it can hold support here near that 14, and then we can get right back up there, maybe with a 16 push. So keep this one on watch. Definitely. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Right. All right. Let's go to PIPP here, mentioned by Carl. What's up with that one, Chris? Do you know anything about PIPP?
Yeah, so guys, PIPP was one of those two Biden-connected SPACs that we gave you in December, along with ACTC, which of course announced that deal with Proterra. Those were both trading under 11 when we talked about them. Pine Island acquisition is now at 1390. Huge connections to Biden. Two of his cabinet members are part of the team here. Also, several former senators. Again, I will say that those two cabinet members will, move themselves from the SPAC if they are sworn in. But there is lots of interest in this name due to those connections. I would have loved to bought it below 11, but it now trades at a decent size premium. So I would be looking only to get in on dips here.
All right, guys. So one of the things we like to do, guys, is definitely touch the new faces that we see in the chat. So if you're new, definitely say hello. Put some tickers in the chat. This is what it's about, guys. Engage with us. Let's keep it rolling here. I got Holly bringing in THBR. So what's up with that one, Chris?
Yeah, so THBR, actually one of my recent purchases with Thunderbridge. This is a connected car play, semiconductor. I talked last week of how several auto companies, including Ford, were actually shutting down factories because they didn't have enough chips. Here's a company that could benefit from that in the long run. They're also working on their own LiDAR technology. Again, I touched on LiDAR in the headlines. To me, this is a strong play as the thing behind the thing for electric and self-driving cars going forward.
All right, guys, definitely. I'm going to keep an eye on that one. I've heard a lot of people mentioning it over the weekend. So, whenever I see those tickers that start trending on Twitter, what I do is I just keep an eye on them because I want to see if there's a catalyst that can really drive the stock. So let's go ahead and continue on. I want to go and touch one more. Who is going to be the lucky person here? Dun, 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 dun. Let's go with this is one I haven't heard of. Do you know any of these two? We got a mention of GXGX and BOAC. Do you know any of these, Chris?
Yeah, so GXGX is a pharma one for cellularity. I don't know it as well as I tend to stay away from the pharma SPACs. And then BOAC. BOAC looks good, targeting energy and industrials. Former CEO of Shell and TXU, another energy company. Again, I think clean energy is a big story here in 2021. I'm actually working on a list for a future show. BOAC fits that profile. Trading at 11, so still a decent price here. But it has started getting heavy volume because I think people are starting to turn to those clean energy SPACs going forward. So, just pay attention to levels there going forward.
Yeah, what I would say about this is that you notice that it's not just let's say in SPACs that you're seeing energy plays become hot. You're noticing this in the overall industry. So if energy is going to come back, guys, then we definitely need to pay attention to these kind of SPACs that have the potential to play, right? So definitely thank you for mentioning this one. It's one that literally it lit a light bulb for me, guys. So I'll definitely keep an eye on this one. Seeing this spike right here, right at the top, it went on the 24th and it had a high of 1309, guys. And then we came back towards this support here, this low here. We have a low of 1004. Okay, so this was the low day here, and then we're coming and holding these 1030s, right? So then we had another drive up here, got above the 11. Let's see if we can come closer towards this 1050 area. That's what I'll be looking for, guys. If we can come closer towards this 1050 area and then come right back up, I'll definitely be interested in this one. But keep it on watch, guys. BOAC. All right, guys. So definitely shout out for mentioning that one. It's what we're here for, guys. Like, if you're always getting value, definitely let us know. Smash that like button below. You know, if you got a SPAC that you guys want to see some coverage, let us know. Chris and I definitely look at the comments after the show. So let us know. Chris, is there anything else you want to leave off with?
No, that's it today. We do have at least one CEO interview later this week. I'm not going to announce it yet. We'll tease it later, probably tomorrow. And then again, as I said, the CEO of United Wholesale Mortgage will be on the lunch show with our CEO, Jason Raznick. So that show starts at 12:10 right here on Benzinga YouTube. So thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. And again, let us know in the comments or hit us up on Twitter if there's tickers or specific sectors you want covered, as we're all about getting the info out to you.
All right, guys, the last thing I'll leave you off with is definitely check out some of the Benzinga merchandise that we have going, guys. We have two places for it. We have the swag, benzinga.com. We also have this Teesprings down below, so definitely check it out, guys. This is some really cool swag. I mean, if you like some SPACs, if you like Benzinga, if you like some of our personalities that we have part of our shows, so definitely check it out, guys. And we'll see you next time on the SPACs Attack, baby!